Good afternoon, all. Thank you so much for joining us again here on the next installment of the Spring and Nature Black Employees Network Speaker Series. I'm delighted to say that we are joined here today by Dr. Nehemiah Mabry. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. So the title I like to go with is structural engineer. I was a part of a NASA research apprenticeship program when I was in high school, and that was my introduction to engineering in general. And what that happened to do was open up my eyes so much so that I said, "Bring me back next year. I want to volunteer." So I came back like the following summer and volunteered, and I was really invested as I headed into college in this field called engineering. So I enjoyed my time at NASA so much that I decided to go all the way and get a PhD in the area of structural engineering and mechanics. And that led me to a different state, North Carolina, where I attended North Carolina State University. And that led me into a new career, or a slightly different structural engineering career, of bridge design.
You're the CEO and founder of STEMedia Incorporated.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
And we provide educational, inspirational content for the STEM community. And so it has grown over the years, been able to connect with other individuals to an online platform, STEMedia.com, where we provide on-demand videos and also events, speaking events, workshops of that nature to help empower STEM careers. And we also have a particular interest in the elevation of underrepresented people, meaning Black and Brown and Indigenous communities.
What was your experience of diversity inclusion within your area of STEM when you first started out in comparison to the conversations that are trending now?
I started my my higher educational journey at what we call a HBCU, a historically Black college and university down in Huntsville, Alabama, here in the States, known as Oakwood University. Now, HBCUs are predominantly Black. And so there's not an uncommon thing to have a Black doctor here, a Black scientist here that look like you, that you can relate to on a cultural level, that you can almost look at as your uncle or your auntie, right? And so that was an incredibly affirming environment in a society where that is not the norm. But then after that, I actually transferred and did a dual degree, to be more specific. I enrolled in a dual degree program where I pursued my engineering degree, specifically doing applied math at the HBCU. My engineering degree was at a university down the road, which wasn't an HBCU. And so I went from, classrooms where, almost everybody looked at me to a classroom where I'm looking around like, all right. But I remember, just to say one thing, I was flat out asked in my PhD program, why am I getting a PhD? Because you all don't get PhDs. I was flat out asked that, Marlene, and that was a shock. But again, having a foundation of knowing who I was, and regardless of how I may be looked at, right, by someone else, that allowed me to not let that cause me to sit back and say, you know what, why am I even doing this?
In terms of diversity inclusion at that time, do you think, and obviously now today, do you think that that is something that really the academics and the companies are really doing anything about?
For the most part, it has always seemed to be something only a few people cared about, and other people felt like it was a burden. More people need to have their eyes open to the actual value proposition of diversity. The actual value that comes from having people from different backgrounds in the room, which comes naturally when you have diverse cultures and diverse ethnic backgrounds. That value proposition, in fact, it's been proven that it actually increases the bottom line. It helps the bottom line by a number of studies. I do want to add, Marlene, if I may, really quick, that again, it is incredibly encouraging to have worked with some individuals that really internalize the need. Even before recent events, I would say that North Carolina State University, particularly the College of Engineering, is led by a man, just to give him a shout out, Dean Louis Martin Vega, who has been always a champion for representation.
What things would you like to see change within your area of STEM for the betterment of Black colleagues, obviously representation?
It almost goes without saying that I believe in the power of images, people actually seeing something, right? Because everything starts with a vision. And believe it or not, a lot of young people who haven't seen something um, need a vision to borrow at first, right?
Mm-hmm.
They need to be
Mm-hmm.
able to see someone that they can relate to, that they can see themselves in doing something in the laboratory or doing something at a high level related to STEM or engineering that allows them to start putting their head or their face on that person's body and start saying, wait a
Mm-hmm.
minute, I could do that too. I also think that there should be more information sharing because here's the thing, like you may know something that you don't know, then you Google it. I don't know this. Let me Google it. But then
Mm-hmm.
what if you don't know what you don't know?
Mm-hmm.
And then worse, yeah, I've heard someone even said the triple negative. What if a young person doesn't know that they don't know what they don't know? I really believe this, Marlene. There are people who have the potential for like literally what's going to take us to the next level as a society, as a human race, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
they just don't know that
What they've
there's
got.
a world where that
Mm-hmm.
potential can be applied and activated. And so I would like to see more of
Absolutely.
that unlocked on every level because it's
Mm-hmm.
not only going to change the perception, it will actually change the reality, not
Yeah.
just for Black people, but for the entire world.
Any words of advice that you can give that you think that would
Okay.
really help someone come up?
First, I would just start with, knowing who you are, like
Mm-hmm.
being confident and secure in who you are as a person and who you're not, right? Really master your craft. When you have an opportunity to study something, when you have an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to go through a curriculum or a program, take it seriously. It's not just a matter of getting through it. You're actually supposed to pick up skills that are now going to allow you to unlock doors on the other side of that. My last one I would say is get around people that help propel you towards where you want to go,
Mm-hmm.
not people who hold you back. It's heartbreaking sometimes when you see potential in someone, um, and you see just like the opportunities begin to drain from their future because of default choices that are made by people around them. If you're in a place where you don't have a lot of people, you may even say to hang around and say where you're headed, get online and find the chat room. Go to a YouTube channel, and if they put out videos every day, you watch it. Pick up a book. Your
Mm-hmm.
library itself can represent those people that you're hanging around. Those authors are the people you begin to hang around, at least mentally, to help you go where you need to go.
Who are your role models?
I have to start with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, who's always really encouraged me to speak, and then my dad, who really introduced me just to the idea of engineering. I didn't even know what engineering was,
Mm-hmm.
were it not for him. And in every part of my career, as I began to work, there always seemed to be someone that took a special interest in me. I remember at NASA, Dr. Curtis Banks was just a phenomenal mentor, and he really
Mm-hmm.
cared about me. I often felt like he was really interesting because he was a NASA physicist, but he was also a pastor of a church. So
Wow.
he would work in the lab with me, and then on Sunday he would go preach to his congregation.
Do you have, or can you tell me of an inventor story um, that really resonates with you
Mhm.
that you would like to share?
A man by the name of Jerry Lawson. He
Mm-hmm.
was dubbed the father of modern gaming. He worked with a lot of the early gaming systems, and his work, I believe, as an electrical engineer was really pivotal. Another person I would say is Gladys West. I believe she was a mathematician,
Yeah.
and she had a hand in work in a lot of the coding and the software that went into our global positioning systems. It shows that they did a lot of they mastered their craft. They're good at what they do, and it
Mm-hmm.
also suggests that sometimes the work and our biggest contribution may not necessarily be that I'm the founder and CEO of this, I'm the big person, the face of something, but
Yeah.
I contribute a pivotal component to this thing that really launched a forest fire in a good way, of
Absolutely.
innovation and opportunity for so many people.
Thank you so much. This has been a fantastic conversation.
Thank you for the opportunity, Marlene.
No worries. Thank you. Take care now.
Take care.